Timber! When I need a break from chopping down those 4,000-year-old redwoods, I turn to lumberjack cigarettes. The pure taste of burning leaves. When you want to feel that tar going deep into your lungs, try lumberjack cigarettes.
Lumberjacks are swell and they make your clothes smell. Above and beneath they leave stains on your teeth. Pick the leaves of dead tobacco, chop 'em up for lumberjacko, rolled up tight and lit on fire. Suck 'em down till you expire, so when you get yens for those carcinogens, the lumberjacks you bought taste like cigarettes ought.
Donald Trump is rolling out a controversial new proposal this week, promising a complete and total ban on electricity in his latest attempt to appeal to Amish voters. The former president told a group of influential Amish megadonors that if elected on day one, he would make turning the lights on or plugging in an appliance a criminal offense. Trump posted this afternoon on Truth Social, quote, "America must fully reject modern conveniences and return to simple life away from society. Many are saying I was the plainest president of all time." ONN's Tom Navarro has been following the Trump campaign and joins us now from Fishner's Sorghum Farm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Tom, why is the Amish community's support so important to the former president?
Well, Trump realizes a simple fact. If he's going to win in November, he needs the Amish vote. This is a powerful group that helped propel Trump to the White House in 2016. So as of this week, the campaign is ditching all private planes and motorcades to travel via horse-drawn buggy.
Trump also posting this week that he refuses to debate Kamala Harris again because, quote, debates are televised, which goes against the Ordnung, or a set of rules for the Amish way of life, something Trump's spiritual advisor, Bishop Elmo Beachy, claims has always been important to him.
That's right, and it's not just Trump. Many people within his inner circle are now abiding by the Ordnung. His son Eric was recently spotted with a wide-brim MAGA hat and a long beard that he says helps humble him in adherence to God's word.
But Tom, this is a man who lives in a city, has worn makeup and blue jeans, and regularly uses electricity himself. The Harris campaign pulling no punches, reminding voters that Trump is a billionaire who has never once churned his own butter. Is this new Amish Trump actually resonating?
Well, to some, yes, but many are simply willing to overlook the fact that Trump still uses indoor plumbing because of the promises that he's making. Things like stricter dress codes, building a big, beautiful barn, shunning wrongdoers. It's a long list, but critics are reminding voters that these are promises Trump also made in 2016. Now, he wasn't able to accomplish any of those goals, but some supporters I've talked to are hopeful that he was—
Tom, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we have breaking news just now into ONN. Eli Yoder, a prominent leader in the Amish community, has just announced his endorsement of Donald Trump for President of the United States. In a statement released just moments ago, Yoder said, quote, "While we acknowledge Donald Trump often dances near the devil's playground, Kamala Harris's promise of a permanent Rumspringa is too dangerous in the eyes of Gott and leaves us with no other choice. The Amish people must vote for Trump."
Wow.
Tom, this is a huge endorsement. I want to get your thoughts.
Wow. Permanent Rumspringa, not Harris's official policy, but certainly something the campaign has alluded to, saying Americans have the right to sing and play games and have sex with people who aren't their cousins. But right now, it looks like that may have backfired big time. This is a massive get for Trump.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Coming up next, could counting down to the election make it happen sooner?
I'm Queen Sylvie of the multiple award-winning The Queen Sylvie Show. You want to expand and get noticed? Then come outside your box and into our world. Internet advertising has a real impact on global awareness and even sales, so let's make an impact together. Offering for a limited time advertising and sponsorship packages that excel your purpose. So contact Queen Sylvie or Smooth Tim for the exciting opportunities that awaits. Yeah.
Are you tired of driving around a dirty car? Say hello to the ultimate solution for your car. Quick Auto Detail, home, work, or wherever. Their mobile car spa will clean and shine your car anytime and anywhere. Their products are gentle on your car's paint, and they use only the highest quality materials. Book your appointment now.
Hey kids, how would you like to hear this on the screen instead of the great show you came to see? That's what you sound like. Honest. Please cooperate and do your part in keeping this theater quiet so everyone, including you, can enjoy it. Remember, lots of adults and kids, too, paid admission to enjoy the show. We must insist on absolute quiet.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? It's time for the final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's rock.
Hey, what is happening? It is Smooth Tim, and thank you so very much for dropping by and spending another hump day with me on Tim's Tidbits. Tidbits. You know where my mind's at? Geez, sorry. In any regard, hey, I hope you're having an enjoyable week so far, or thus far. I hope you had a good weekend. All kinds of things going on around the world. We'll get to those. But hey, first, let me give some shout outs to the listeners from last week in Australia, France, Ireland, Africa, Poland, the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Mexico, and Germany. Appreciate y'all tuning on into the show and watching what we're talking about. Anyhow, as I said, there's all kinds of stuff going on around in the world. I saw it a little bit earlier today. They had a terrorist bomber in Turkey at an aerospace plant. Some people were injured and some people were killed. So, hey, it's not just, in one place and or the other. It is everywhere. There is stuff going on in this world. People, it's a lot easier to love thy neighbor than to sit there and cause all this havoc and all this strife amongst each other. A lot easier to get along in this world. It certainly is. And hey, we all know here in the good old US of A, it is the election time. You can't help but know it because you're getting super inundated with advertisements on TV, promoting one person and demoting the other person. They've always got something negative to say. It is the natural mudslinging that happens during the election season. But in any regards, a lot of it, it's kind of interesting is... and I'm going to show you a couple of clips already having some discrepancies in what we would call voting. And it's early voting. Hell, it isn't even, the 5th of November yet, and already people are crying foul. But in any regard, we... Earlier, I remember hearing Trump talking, mail-in voting is fraudulent and early voting is fraudulent, and the only real secure way is in-person voting. And now him and his team, because, things are close. I mean, things are neck and neck between both candidates. So now Trump's changing his tune and vote early, vote however you can. Hell, vote twice. I don't care. Just so I win. But in any regards, no, he didn't really say that. Actually, just joking with you. But there is some election issues going on, and let's dive into one about some of the election concerns that are going on. And this is going to be going on well after the election, people. So let's keep ourselves up with it so we know exactly what the hell is going on.
She said the same experience was happening in Raleigh, where her mother and her aunt voted, and when they would press the button, it would switch also.
And the other big story tonight, some lawmakers are saying they have received calls from voters across Shelby County complaining of voting issues. The county's election commission says this may be user error, saying it's not the machines. However, some people say that's not the case. WRG's Brian Didlake is back with more on that story.
Received several calls from constituents who are concerned that their votes are being miscast.
Democratic lawmakers, along with an election commissioner, sounding the alarm. Some voters claiming when they go to select a candidate, the voting machine switches the answer. The group collectively saying people voting at more than half of the Shelby County's precincts are reporting the same issue. One precinct is in Arlington.
It's not like it just completely went to a different party. And that's what's scary to me.
Deanna Rigler says this was the case when she voted with her husband.
The poll workers say anything?
She said, don't click on, the box where you usually put an arrow, if you were writing a ballot. And she said, click on the name. It didn't make any difference.
Clicking the name instead of the box, the same advice WREG received after sharing concerns with the county's election administrator, Linda Phillips.
If you aim for the box, you often miss it, and it's touching the one above it. So touch inside anywhere on the candidate's name.
They are standalone equipment. There's no signals that are being transmitted between the machines. We have some of the best equipment in the country.
Vanicia Kimbrough is an election commissioner who says many machines are new and have been calibrated and tested before going to polling locations. But right now, she's not ruling out these concerns. The commissioner suggests people request a stylist, and if the problem continues,
we just really want them to call in, give us your name, don't leave your machine. We want to document what that machine number is.
Lawmakers say they will be watching to see how this is resolved.
Caution, Ms. Phillips, that we do have, and you know this from past elections, we do have a straight line to the United States Department of Justice.
In downtown Memphis, Brian Didlake for your news leader, WREG, News Channel 3.
He's got a point. Yeah, he can go right to the State Board of Elections, the AG's office, and yeah, that's kind of weird that you've had that complaint. The touch screens aren't calibrated quite properly, rather, or something's going on there. But obviously, there's going to be a point of contention. That was in Shelby County, they called that, Tennessee, which included Memphis. What was the other city they mentioned? Arlington. So yeah, that's a big area. So that's definitely going to get put under the microscope by probably whatever team that loses. So it doesn't matter. Truly, it doesn't matter. Whichever team probably takes it up the butt on that one is going to file some type of a recount. But in any regards, that's not the only place. It's also happening in North Texas.
When I got the paper ballot, it had the other candidate's name on it.
These videos show Tarrant County voters claiming ballot issues on the first day of early voting.
Double check your printed out ballot.
Jess Glover recorded the reaction while campaigning outside the White Settlement Library, saying they told her this.
Because what I selected on the screen printed out the opposite when it came out.
To raise awareness, Jess says she allowed her videos to be posted on social media.
I'm not trying to spread conspiracies. I'm looking for the truth. It might be a simple matter of machines are faulty.
During the first day of early voting, Tarrant County Election Administrator Clint Ludwig says they processed 58,000 ballots. In a news release, Ludwig wrote, in one reported instance, a voter reviewed their printed ballot and found it did not correctly reflect his choice for president. The original ballot was spoiled and the voter remarked a new ballot. The release also explained they did have to fix a labeling error for the Office of Presiding Judge, Court of Criminal Appeals, on the printed paper ballot. After standing in long lines for early voting, voters say poll workers advise them to make sure they pay attention in the voting booth.
They asked us to double check, and so I did that and then triple checked it with the printout screen and then the printed list, and it all looked good to me. So if they flipped it, that's a neat trick.
Jess Glover doesn't regret making the videos, saying just like other voters, a lot is at stake this election. So
no matter who you vote for, that your vote goes through to the right person the way that you want it so that everything is fair.
In White Settlement, I'm Scoop Jefferson.
That's kind of interesting. I realized something as I was reviewing that video and listening very carefully to it. And the first video that we showed, they were talking about there in Tennessee, that one of the cities affected was Arlington, Tennessee. Strangely enough, is when they were talking about Tarrant County, Texas. We used to live down there for a minute. And that's Arlington, Texas. So that kind of sets in between Fort Worth and Dallas. Yeah. So anyhow, wow. So Arlington's taking a hit on the voting machines for some reason. So we'll see, folks. Yeah, I'm just telling you that stay tuned, because that one is not going to go away. And, they're already talking about Russia and China and North Korea and Joe Blow and everybody else trying to, pass along fake election information, discreditable election information, all kinds of controversy. But I did find a video, to explain a real important item is that they've decided that you are no longer going to be able to vote by flushing your vote. Sorry, folks, but if that's how you used to vote, is just flushing your vote down the toilet, they're not going to allow that anymore. Check it out.
A new ruling could affect the way you cast your vote in this year's election. Voters in states across the country are being warned that ballots flushed down the toilet will no longer be counted. The U.S. Election Assistance Commission is reminding Americans that, quote, to ensure the integrity of the upcoming elections, beginning tomorrow, we will not consider ballots sent in via the nation's sewage system valid. Election advocates say the decision to block flush-in voting this late in the election could confuse millions of older voters who have long relied on the method and disenfranchise those who simply prefer the ease of voting while on a toilet seat.
It's ridiculous. I've been flushing my vote down the toilet for years. They should be making it easier for me to throw my vote in the shitter, not harder.
Surveys consistently show Americans prefer the convenience of entering a bathroom of their choosing, crumpling up their ballot alongside a valid form of government ID, and casting their vote off on a river of human waste. But critics are questioning what happens to those ballots once in transit, asking if perhaps migrants living in the sewers might steal them, fears that seem reflected in the government's decision. Still, many Americans appear undeterred by the announcement, with tens of thousands lining up outside restrooms across the country to make their flushes heard while it's still an option. Coming up next, lab-grown meat. Could it be the future of the sex industry?
Now that's an interesting question. Lab-grown meat, could it be the future of the sex industry? In any regard, so I hate to disappoint you, but those of you who are typically used to just flushing your vote down the shitter, you're going to have to figure out a new way to get it in there. But anyhow, speaking of election interference, I don't know how you feel about this. It was it a rally in Pennsylvania, wherever the hell it was, that Trump called on Elon Musk, and he's jumping all around the stage acting like typical Elon idiot that he is. And but in any regards, Elon is offering a daily prize of $1 million to a lucky person who will sign up people that makes this pledge on his Truth Social network to some kind of garbage. Check this out.
High-profile Trump ally is facing growing criticism over an unusual tactic on the campaign trail. Billionaire Elon Musk is offering a big cash prize to battleground state voters who sign a petition from his Trump super PAC. Critics say he's essentially paying people to vote, which he denies. Jolene Kent has more. Jolene, good morning.
Good morning, Nate. Elon Musk runs SpaceX and Tesla, which have benefited from billions of dollars in federal government grants and contracts. And now former President Trump has promised Musk a high-profile job in his potential second administration, while also holding these business deals and paying voters. All this raising new concerns.
It's not your typical $1 million sweepstakes.
Yeah.
Tech billionaire Elon Musk is handing out a $1 million check every day until Election Day to a randomly selected voter.
Yeah.
The catch? To enter, a voter must sign a petition launched by Musk's pro-Trump Political Action Committee, supporting the First and Second Amendments of the Constitution, and be a registered battleground state voter.
It's very straightforward. You don't even have to vote.
But experts we spoke to say it's not so straightforward. Federal law says it's a crime to pay anyone to register to vote or simply vote.
Is this legal?
I don't think it's legal. He doesn't really care about getting people to sign a petition. What he really wants to do is get people who he thinks are going to vote for Trump but aren't registered to register to vote.
Take over, Eli. Just take over.
Musk, the richest man in the world, has poured $75 million into his PAC to get Trump voters to the polls.
I will create a government efficiency commission. And Elon, because he's not very busy, has agreed to head that task force.
Musk also uses X, formerly Twitter, which he owns, to promote Trump to his 200 million plus followers. According to a CBS News investigation, Musk has used X to amass 3.3 billion views on posts about election security so far this year. 55% of the posts contained or amplified false or misleading information, including unsubstantiated conspiracies.
Okay, so part of the conspiracy theories that are going along with Trump has to do with mail-in voting and everything else. But he's allowed to dump, $75 million? Because it's one of them super funds, right? The super funds, they got no control over them. So he can dump $75 million, offer everybody $1 million a day until election day to sign up people. And that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And putting that stuff out, 3.3 billion followers on Musk's network. So think of the individuals that he's influencing with all this bullshit. Untrue lies. And then he wants to talk about, protecting his right to freedom of speech. I don't think freedom of speech should really be inclusive in when you're distributing false information about, elections and or the country and or individuals. And most of them, I think if you do it about an individual, it's called libel. But interesting. We'll see how this all plays out. It's got to, like I said, the election's in 11, 12 days, whatever the hell it is going to be. But it's going to be going on long after that. That's why we were talking about these videos that were happening in Tennessee and in Texas, and I'm sure they're going to be popping up all over the country for your viewing pleasure. Yeah. Anyhow, hey, recently, not recently, in the past month, Florida's been slapped with 2 hurricanes, and obviously, the people that are on the Gulf side have really been taking a hit. And some of the problem is that these people, can't keep up with it. This is the second time that they've had, damage done to their home, and or the insurance company is no longer going to qualify them for flood insurance. So you're living next to the ocean and your house gets flooded too damn bad because your insurance company doesn't cover it, which doesn't make any sense. Because why are you going to have insurance? Because that's probably about the only thing that's going to happen to your home living next to the ocean is it's going to flood. I doubt seriously it's going to burn down. But in any regard, there are some real good deals going down in Florida. And especially if you want to buy a home in the Tampa Bay area, check it out.
Finding a house anywhere in the Tampa Bay area at $300,000 these days sounds too good to be true, but if you come to Shore Acres, you will find several houses listed for that price, some even lower, as they are damaged homes, now at a discounted rate. Homeowners trying to just get out. This homeowner here telling me she's flooded out 3 times and she simply doesn't have the strength to rebuild again.
I mean, we have chemicals and everything else from gutting everything out.
Ellie Levinville's 4-bedroom, 2-bath Shore Acres home is down to the studs again.
Unfortunately, this is the 3rd flood in 2 years. I can't live in this flood zone where you're constantly having to move out for 6 or 7 months.
She bought it 3 years ago at $575,000, now listed at $425,000, as is for investors after Hurricane Helene.
I'm going to lose a lot, but I've gained a lot of friends, and I've had great experiences here other than the flood, so I just have to cut my losses and move on.
It's one of dozens of homes that just hit the market in the last week or so. Listings showing those flooded homes with words like as is, cash only, and for investors, as homeowners are trying to simply move on.
So this is like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Realtor Ross Fingfish is selling for a husband and wife team who just flipped this Shore Acres home themselves. They put it on the market after renovating it 60 days ago at $460,000.
When we purchased this property, we were thinking, okay, well, what's the future hold? You don't think to yourself, there's going to be 4 foot of water or 3 foot of water or whatever.
Now,
and just dropped it down to $299. You'll see the listings that are pending at $300,000 or $250,000 were originally at $450,000 or $500,000. So you have to just kind of roll with the punches.
But he says interest is there. In fact, investors are calling and already scooping up these homes.
Yeah, lots of pending. I was actually surprised to see that.
It's a matter of now making the most for those homeowners who lost it all.
Because at the end of the day, you're right. You're going to sell the house, and maybe including with the insurance money, they're going to do okay. Like they can walk away maybe just unscarred and move on with life. That's possible.
In Shore Acres, I'm ABC Action News anchor Nadine Yanis.
That guy said maybe too many times. Maybe they could get insurance money. Maybe they could walk away from it, be okay. Maybe that wouldn't be such a very good investment. I mean, you think about it. What did he say? That one home was originally listed for $460K and now they're doing it for $299. So that's a significant, almost $200,000 drop in the asking price. But what are you gonna get? And it's as is, cash only. So I think you're gonna be dealing with a lot of issues, and I would think maybe even some mold issues. I would have some health concerns about moving into a home that had been flooded, especially at a bargain basement price like that. And again, once you purchase that home, are you going to be able to acquire insurance for that home? They may get you for theft insurance and some fire insurance, but obviously they said that's the third time that's happened to that home. So your main concern rather should be flood insurance, and I can guarantee you're not going to get it. Another thing to beware of, and especially with these homes and getting flooded down in Florida, is, by golly, most of these people drive vehicles, don't they? And one of those vehicles got flooded, and pretty soon you're going to be seeing them up here in the north and all around the country at auto marts. And how are you going to know if you got your hands on a flooded vehicle out of Florida?
Finding a house. Even if you don't live in a flood-prone area, it's still very easy these days to end up buying a flood-damaged car, which could end up costing you thousands of dollars in repairs.
Tropical storms and hurricanes, like Helene, leave homes, roads, and thousands of vehicles underwater.
So we can look at this particular vehicle right here.
Certified mechanic Matt Overbeck showed us how to check a used car for signs of flood damage.
We can pull this plastic down and look.
Matt says look under the dashboard for signs of mud or rust on the wiring. Then check the trunk.
Then this tray right here, it actually covers the spare tire. Water could pool in around this area, this low point of the car.
Matt says inspect the carpeting, especially underneath seats, and check headlights and taillights for signs of moisture inside.
It's very easy for moisture or water to actually get into the taillights and fill up.
If you don't live along the coast, you might be thinking this isn't a problem for you, except.
So it's very common for scammers to go into areas where there has been flooding, and they will offer cash or other incentives to owners to sell their car that's been flood damaged.
Patrick Olson with Carfax says people will clean up water-damaged cars and sell them in other parts of the country.
In places like Ohio, in places like Utah, Minnesota, Illinois, we see relatively high numbers there because it's easier to sell in areas where it's not top of mind for owners to think about flooding.
If you accidentally buy a flood-damaged car, Matt Overbeck says electrical problems could last forever.
Upwards of 80 computer modules in modern vehicles. It doesn't take much. If they get wet or get submerged in water, in a lot of cases, there's no way to repair it.
Which is why you want to avoid one so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese.
So Tim's Tidbits is watch your wallet, watch what you're buying, and watch the cars that are coming up here because, as I said, you may have it on a Carfax report. You can ask for Carfax report when you buy vehicles, but is it necessarily going to be on the Carfax report that was a submerged vehicle? And you're going to have all kinds of problems because, once it's been in that water, especially salt water, think of the damage it's going to do to the electrical components. And if not right away, down the line, guaranteed. Yeah, interesting. And I thought the other interesting thing, they send the damaged vehicles up to Michigan, up to Ohio, up into the New York, and it's like, why would send them up around the Great Lakes? We don't have flooding problems because we send all our extra water over Niagara Falls and into the ocean. So yeah, no problem up here. But wow, flooded vehicles. Be careful, folks. And, if you are a little bit leery on doing an inspection, have a family member, friend, take a look at a vehicle. Just like those homes down there, rather, in the Tampa Bay area. If it deals too good to be true, well, there it is. Anyhow, hey, speaking of good deals, maybe, who knows? But here in Ohio, up around Cleveland, we have a football team called the Browns. And they might not produce very well, and sometimes they may have a 500 season. It's hard to get on board with them. Been in Ohio all my life, and it is just impossible for me to get on board with the Browns. It saves you a lot of disappointment and a lot of heartache. But speaking of some disappointment and some heartache when it comes to the Browns, is the city of Cleveland just may lose the Browns to a suburb, and they are none too happy about it. Same thing happened with the Dallas Cowboys. They were up in Irving, which is on the north side of the DFW complex, the Metroplex there, and they moved on down to Arlington, built their stadium there because of some debate over tax evasions, all this other garbage, and that could be what it has to do with. Who knows? But let's see what's going to happen with the maybe the guy that's going to move the Cleveland Browns should talk to Jerry and see how he pulled it off. I don't know.
Since 1999, the Cleveland Browns have called this stadium their home. I'm Kaylee Olivas. With the recent announcement from ownership that this team will move to Brook Park, it's forced the city of Cleveland to invoke a law that may very well keep this team here. A team that stands as the backbone of Cleveland. And while this season's score is disappointing,
I love Cleveland Browns, but it's getting to the point where it's sad.
there's one thing residents want.
We thought we was going to get that big W, but obviously we need to play better.
To keep this team in the heart of Northeast Ohio.
I grew up with the Browns, and every Sunday that was our ritual to watch the Browns. And so as a Clevelander, it hurts to see them want to leave.
But Browns ownership announced last week that a Brook Park Dome is the move they're ready to make.
We think it counts as notice.
Not so quick, though. A local ordinance requires the city of Cleveland to enforce the Modell Law. It was enacted to keep the Browns here when a former owner moved the team to Baltimore, Maryland in the mid-1990s. It now requires Ohio team owners to seek permission to move. And without it, they must give a 6-month notice and allow both the local government and local investors an opportunity to purchase the team.
We're not looking at buying the Browns. If we have to, we'll file a lawsuit to require the Browns to make their team available for local purchasers who will keep the team in the city of Cleveland.
In a statement from Haslam Sports Group Chief Operating Officer referencing the use of this law, he says, quote, "Our current stadium efforts and desire to make a transformative investment in Greater Cleveland and the entire Northeast Ohio region could not be more different."
We disagree. They're coming out of downtown Cleveland, where we have really supported them for a long time, and they're leaving the city. So it falls within the Modell Law, and we're required to enforce it.
The Cleveland Browns' lease with the city expires at the end of the 2028 season. The city believes that timeline gives them enough to strap the Browns in for years to come.
They are part of the civic pride.
And if not, Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb made his future plans known at a Tuesday night town hall.
If they do leave, you have my word and my vow that we are going to build one of the best damn lakefronts this country has ever seen.
We'll continue to follow through as this situation develops. For News 5 here in Cleveland, I'm Kaylee Olivas.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're... Let me explain it. Yeah, for those of you that don't know Cleveland, Brook Park is a suburb of Cleveland. It's not like they're leaving Cleveland. It's just not right on the lakefront. And Cleveland has done a lot of work on their lakefront. And so, trying to revitalize that downtown, because it's like most downtowns, a little run down, a little old. But I can understand that the owner rather, his motivation to want to move into Brook Park. Brook Park's a real nice part of Cleveland, by the way. And probably has some land, has some parking, and there's some other opportunities for growth. Like I said, they did the same thing in Dallas with the Cowboys. They moved from Irving down into Arlington. Yeah, Irving had a fit, but, hey, it is what it is, what it is. You need to do what's best for the entirety of the organization, the entirety of the community. And it's not like Cleveland's going to lose a whole shitload of money about this. I mean, you're still going to have different sales of different Cleveland. You still have the Indians. Any regards. Hey, in some previous shows, I've talked to you a little bit about keep an eyeball on, what's going on in Ukraine and with their battle with Russia. Putin is still, pouring on the heat. Zelensky is still trying to fight back. But it may have gotten just a little bit more intense. And you say, how the hell could it get more intense over there in Ukraine? It's already a friggin' mess. And there's been, hundreds of thousands of people that have been killed, bombed out of their homes. But how can it get worse? It seems that now North Korea is going to send troops there to help out.
It's being criticized by some as a dangerous escalation in the war in Ukraine. Tonight, reporter Connor Hansen is getting reactions to accusations that North Korea is sending troops to fight alongside Russian soldiers.
As Russia continues its invasion, leaders of both Ukraine and South Korea say North Korea is now sending troops to join the fight.
If it's true that DPRK soldiers are joining Putin's war against Ukraine, it certainly would mark a dangerous and highly concerning development.
South Korea's spy agency says it has confirmed North Korea sent 1,500 troops to help Russia. The U.S. ally is demanding those troops leave immediately. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky claims the number of North Korean troops could be as high as 10,000.
It is obvious that Putin fears peace, which is why he is looking for ways to escalate the aggression and involve North Korea on the front line.
The U.S. and NATO have not confirmed if North Korean troops are fighting in Ukraine, but some worry about what Moscow might have traded in exchange, like technology to help Pyongyang's nuclear weapons program. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin told Fox News the move could mean Russia is struggling to sustain its own military.
If it is true, it speaks to the point that Putin must be weakened to a greater extent than most people think. We know that Putin's losing a lot of people.
These accusations come while Russian President Vladimir Putin hosts a summit with the leaders of several other nations, including China's President Xi Jinping.
There you go. And China, geez, I forgot to throw in China too. So there you go. North Korea, China, and Russia all in cahoots. And North Korea, and Anthony Blinken, he confirmed it just a little bit before showtime that, yeah, definitely North Korea has sent troops there. So it'd be interesting to see how everybody responds to that and how concerned the world starts to get when you start having North Korea and possibly now China possibly could be getting involved in this Ukraine-Russia situation. Keep an eye on the people. We've been talking about this for months and months. In any regards, there was a horrific accident that happened over the weekend. This was down in Houston, Texas. And apparently there was a helicopter that had asked to get a flight path into downtown Houston to do whatever. And the flight path took them directly into a 900-foot radio tower.
Tonight, new details on what may have set that helicopter on a deadly collision course with a radio tower in East Houston. In air traffic control transmissions obtained by KHOU 11, you can hear the moment someone in the small aircraft makes initial contact with air traffic controllers at Hobby Tower.
Is about 6 miles to the east, requesting a downtown loop. I'm at 600 feet. With information, Juliet.
In the transmissions, you can hear the helicopter ask the tower to fly at 600 feet near downtown. This Google Earth reenactment shows the flight path it would have taken. Unfortunately, that 600 feet altitude is significantly lower than the tower the helicopter would eventually crash into. That tower standing at 999 feet above ground, according to FCC records.
Julia Delta, do you have any idea what tower that was? Directly east of downtown?
Records also show there were potential problems with the radio tower's lights. At this time, it's unclear which lights, if any, were out. In this surveillance video that captures the crash, it appears there was at least one flashing light on the tower that was operational. The tower, which was previously owned, at least in part, by Univision, was sold in a transaction with several other towers in September, according to a company spokesperson. It's now owned by a company called SBA, which manages transmission towers in several countries. In a statement late today, an SBA spokesperson said in part, "As part of our standard process for newly acquired sites, SBA ensured a NOTAM was in place for this site in order to exercise caution during the change of ownership while we integrate the site into our Network Operations Center for continuous 24/7 monitoring pursuant to FAA and FCC regulations."
Yeah, that'll be interesting. That tower company's got to take a hit because, once they reported light outage on your tower, I was a director of information technology, radio communications for a county, and part of the requirement, I didn't know going into it was going to be so involved, but in any regards, was taking care of the towers and part of the regulations that the FCC, FAA have when it comes to tower height, tower maintenance, tower lighting. And once a light's reported out on your tower, you got like 24 hours to get it fixed. And you'll get fined. Those fines will come compiled daily until you make adjustments to that power to make it safe. Or, they could just shut down the tower and tell you to tear it the hell down. And that's not an easy thing. I remember one time, I had to have some lengthy discussions. It was with FAA, FCC, in regards, I had a tower on top of a tall building, and I was relicensing it for another channel. In any regards, they told me that I couldn't put a radio tower on top of the structure. I'm like, the tower's already there. Tower's been there for years, and it took a long time to get it straightened out, even the structure that was even there. They're very particular, and it's because of its proximity to an airport, by the way. And anytime you're even close to where you'd have air traffic, they get real picky. So, hey, that's a damn shame, and I hope, or I wish the best, for the family of the people who perished in that horrible accident, and I hope nobody around the tower area, was, killed either. In any regards, hey, let's get on to one of my favorite parts of the show, and that is, hey, dude, can you just tell me what the fuck? Seriously? So let's find out what happens in Toledo, Ohio, when 3 little piggies go to the market to get themselves some ice cream.
No little piggies went to the market. What in the world? But 3 of them did go for ice cream in West Toledo.
They were almost baking in the middle of Reynolds Road. So you just want the pumpkin and caramel?
Mandy Flagg was working at Hannah's Soft Serve on October 3rd.
I was back here actually making a banana split for a regular customer. And I heard him say pigs, and I looked up, and I had to take like 3 takes.
So she went whole hog after them.
And they were right here, by that time, in my drive-thru. And they saw me, went that way. So I came across, went out this way, and then they were in the road. So I was kind of weaving back in and out of the road.
They get drips of the smell from Hannah's, and they're pigs. Hey.
It's a good thing there's no bacon-flavored ice cream on the menu at Hannah's.
Not bacon-flavored ice cream in Hannah's. Anyhow, I thought I would share that. Dude, really? I couldn't imagine. Yeah, that's we're from Toledo, Ohio, so I know where that place is at. There's a lot of heavy traffic on Reynolds Road where they were at. Surprisingly, that none of those pigs got hit and killed. And wait to see what animal control in the city does about it. I don't know if you're allowed to pen pigs within city limits. I would think that the neighbors don't necessarily like the smell, but hey, is what it is, folks. Hey, let's move on to another part of the show that I know everybody loves, and that is who is going to win our Asshole of the Week. And it comes down to a simple thing. Hang on a second. Let me get this video popped up. But in any regards, sometimes it's amazing what people will do in a drive-thru when they're just not happy. I guess with their order. I don't know what the hell this guy's problem with. And yeah, guy's problem. And here's the funny thing: is watch this cast of clowns as they get out and start throwing a hissy fit about their order. But check out, I think it's 4 dudes. I'm not really sure, but check it out. Aren't they cute? Whatever, I'm thinking that he didn't get enough ketchup with his fries, something. Who knows? I am not sure what the hell went wrong there. There's your asshole. Some people will just go absolutely crazy. Yeah, some customers, and hey, these fast food people, cut them a break, How do you really want to do that job? Time to give it to high schoolers. But in any regards, hey, it is time to get on out of here, and I really do enjoy doing this show and passing some of this information along to you. As I said, keep an eye on what's going on with the different things happening. We've seen some video about what's happened in Tennessee and in Texas, with people already claiming that they're having some voting issues with, and I don't know if those were Dominion machines. I hope the hell not. They never even mentioned the brand name of the machines that were screwing up. Dominion could be. In any regards, and hey, Musk, putting $75 million into Trump's campaign. Trump wanting him to be, to help him run the government like a business. That seems like all part of that Project 2025 stuff. People that aren't, allegiant to the leader, you're gone. You're out of here. Yeah. Talked about some flood-damaged homes down in the Tampa Bay area, some vehicles that could be coming up north here. Keep an eye out on those things. And we'll see what happens with the Cleveland Browns, see if they get to move to the suburbs or if they're going to be stuck on the lake. They should do some improvements to that stadium if they're going to keep them on the lake. Put a dome on it, do something with that. And we'd seen that North Korea has now stuck their nose in the middle of the Ukraine-Russia battle. So there we are. And again, things are happening all over the world, not just domestically. So keep your ear to the wall, keep your eye on what's happening in the world. Watch out for some of the deep fake information, obviously, that's getting put out. And until next week, people, you enjoy your week and enjoy this little video I put together for you. Have a good one. Bye.
Fellas, we gotta talk. A lot of men seem to think that Donald Trump is some kind of tough guy. He's not. I mean, look at him. He wears more makeup than Dolly Parton. He whines like a baby. And the guy's afraid of birds. Donald Trump had his daddy pay a doctor to say his Will feet hurt so he could dodge the draft. Look at that gut. Like a garbage bag full of buttermilk. He sells imaginary baseball cards pretending to be a cowboy fireman. The guy's barely strong enough to hold an umbrella. I mean, look how he drinks water. Like a little pink chickadee. He's got jugs, big ones, like Dolly Parton. He cheats at golf. He creeps around beauty pageant dressing rooms. You know that little dance he does? He looks like he's jacking off a pair of giraffes. He's moody, he pouts, he throws tantrums.
No, get those lights off!
He acts like a 5-year-old behind the wheel of a truck. He bends over for Putin. He's cattier on social media than a middle school mean girl. The guy needs help walking downhill. Almost there, Grandma. But this November, let's stop kidding ourselves. Donald Trump is afraid of rain, of dogs, of windmills, Merle Streep, and being laughed at.
Isn't it past your jail time?
But mostly, he's terrified that real red-blooded American men will find out that he's a weak, tubby toddler.
Mommy, take me home. Mommy, I want to go home.
What's wrong, tough guy? Did someone grab you by the Boy, you bitch.
By guys who can still see the room.